Hi, I'm John from Just Music. If you like today's show, please, please, please thumbs up, like, subscribe. I need to get into the YouTube algorithm and comment below. And if you're feeling generous, I have my PayPal donations email address in the description below. Today, we are going to be talking about my best bass players of all time. All right. I have to give a little disclaimer. I'm going to leave out most jazz categories, most blues categories, and funk categories because I'm not that familiar with those genres as I am with rock and roll. However, I am going to talk a little bit about jazz and a little bit about funk. But there are some great bass players that I'm not familiar enough with to put them in my personal favorite bass players of all time. And there's going to be some runners up. But talking about jazz, my buddy Mitch has introduced me to the world of a gentleman still living in Brooklyn, New York, named Carl Thompson, and he was the main idea behind the piccolo bass, which is a higher tuned bass. And Stanley Clarke and Ron Carter took that idea and kind of ran with it, and with the cooperation of Carl Thompson, facilitated this instrument. And Carl Thompson has made many of these basses throughout his long life. And inside information here, but there will be a documentary on Carl Thompson at some point. So stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. All right. Some people that deserve honorable mention that I know of, but I know they're great, but it doesn't resonate with me. People like Les Claypool, okay, from Primus. I know who he is. I've heard their music. It's not something that moves me. Same thing with the band Tool, Justin Chancellor. I know he's a phenomenal bass player, but I go more for melody than rudimental structure. Okay. And some of the rest of these honorable mentions, no particular order. I don't know the girl's name, but she was the touring bassist for the Jeff Beck group, probably for the last 10, 15 years or whatever. She is phenomenal. I do not know the young lady's name, but and Jeff Beck is no longer with us. I do not know what she's doing, but she was awesome to watch. Something special right there. Jack Bruce, from Cream, and he had his own solo projects. I liked his style a lot, and he was a good singer as well. So he's right up there. Someone I'm not that familiar with, but I am a little bit, is Jaco Pastorius. He's dead now. I believe he had substance abuse issues, and maybe some mental health disorders as well. But he was the self-proclaimed best bass player of all time. I think he said that in the Rolling Stone interview. Joni Mitchell loved him, I think, literally and figuratively, and she recorded at least one album with him, and she just said she could just let him go. It was total free range. She just had 100% trust in him that he would just make the song happen and fill it out, and he did. John McVie from Fleetwood Mac. I mean, he stood the test of time. Fleetwood Mac, a lot of people don't know, they've had so many incarnations. They started out in the mid 60s, with Peter Green. Peter Green, I believe, on guitar, and John McVeigh has been with Mick Fleetwood from the very beginning, with numerous lineup changes throughout the year. Certainly, he's no slouch, and he has melody, and he has soul, and he has feeling. Phil Lesh from the Grateful Dead. I've never been a big, I've never been a Deadhead, but I love the album American Beauty by the Grateful Dead, but there's no arguing at all. Phil Lesh's bass playing on everything Grateful Dead really moves the band along. So he's up there in the list. Rick Danko from the band, again, another talented musician, bass player, singer. I think he could play guitar as well. Really good bass player. Then we have people like Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I've tried hard to be a fan of the Chili Peppers, but I love a couple of their songs, but the band just doesn't resonate with me, and I'm not a big fan of Anthony Kiedis, lead singer's voice. It grates on me a lot, but Flea is an awesome bass player. You can't argue that. Lemmy from Motorhead. Are you kidding me? He plays the bass like it's a guitar. And his music was original, and his bass playing was different and unique. And again, like a guitar sounding more than a bass. But he's right up there. Nobody played like Lemmy. Geezer Butler from Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath is my third favorite band of all time, and Geezer is no slouch. And he wrote the majority of the lyrics for Black Sabbath. So Geezer's playing is incredible. He's right up there in the list. Joey Spampanato from NRBQ. They live here on the Cape. Joey and Johnny plays guitar. They both were in NRBQ. Now they're doing their own solo thing for like the last 15 or 20 years. But Joey Spampanato from NRBQ is a phenomenal musician, phenomenal bass player, great songwriter, great lyricist. And so much flew under the radar. But Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones was good friends, and Keith Richards loved Joey Spampanato's bass playing. And for a split second after Bill Wyman left the Stones, they were seriously considering Joey Spampanato to be the replacement bass player. And I think he even auditioned or entertained the idea, but I don't know who decided that he wasn't a right fit, but yeah, Joey Spampanato. All right, now we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Let's go this way. So these are the top four, okay? My top four. Geddy Lee from Rush. Are you kidding me? I mean, he is not only amazing bass player, but a keyboard player and the lead singer, and he can do all three at the same time. And he has, foot pedals and keyboards, and he can play a bass and sing. His bass lines are incredible. So Geddy Lee is probably my number 4 best bass player of all time. Then we're going to go with John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin. These guys studied since they were little kids. I mean, John Paul Jones was working as a professional musician, I think, when he was like 12 or 13 years old, maybe even younger. I think he started in a church choir, younger than that. And he's also an accomplished keyboard player. But he knows what he's doing, and him and John Bonham just tied it in so well. And John Paul Jones in a candid interview in the recent documentary, he said something to the effect of, he was in love with John Bonham's foot, and nobody could do what John Bonham could do on a single bass drum with one pedal. The rhythms and the notes that he could pull off on there. And John Bonham just focused on that bass drum. But John Bonham was focused on Jimmy Page. But John Paul Jones said in this interview that through the whole Led Zeppelin experience, he was just trying to keep up and fit in. And boy, did he, So he had a sense of humor. Number two, and I should throw in Noel Redding, right, from the Jimi Hendrix Experience. He's an afterthought. I just thought of it right now. Noel Redding from Jimi Hendrix Experience has to be on the list as a runner-up. But back to my top four. John Entwistle from The Who. Are you kidding me? Just an incredible bass player. And take it... These were... Some of these players, I mean, they were originals. They developed their own style. I'm sure they were inspired by previous players, but to do what they did was so inspirational for future generations of musicians and bass players. But yeah, John Entwistle, I heard he was, a character. I had the pleasure of seeing him play with the Ringo Starr All-Star Band years ago, and he was great. And I've seen him with The Who, back in 1988 and maybe one other time, but he died before his time as well. And of course, number one, the hint is what I'm wearing. For me, it's Paul McCartney. The Beatles are my favorite group, but in my opinion, Paul McCartney not only is the greatest bass player of all time, he is the greatest songwriter of all time. And it's really not even debatable. I mean, the volume and the quality of songs that he's written, hundreds and hundreds of great songs. I mean, and there's got to be probably close to 100 that are hits if you count the Beatles and the Wings and his solo. Paul McCartney, greatest bass player, musician, songwriter of all time. That's the end of my list. I hope you liked it. Like, subscribe, leave your comments in the below, who you think your favorite bass players are. And rock on, everybody, and thanks for watching.